literally the hottest day of summer so far, and I'm filming with a ring light. Got my hair cut, by the way, guys. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, you can tell. If you can hear any noise, I've got my window slightly open because it is hot. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm filming another chatty video. It's kind of a part 2 to my life update one where I spoke about how I had decided to leave musical theatre training and drama school and that kind of thing, and in it I mentioned what I'm doing instead, and instead of doing it as a whole video, I thought I would do a second video, like a part 2, talking about my new adventure in life, which I'm really excited for, and I'm really excited to tell you guys about kind of how it came about and everything like that. So if you haven't seen that video, then you might want to watch it because it gives a bit more of an insight into this video, but if you're not fussed, then of course don't worry. If you do want to watch it, I will pop it in the card. What I will say though before I start this video is a little bit of a disclaimer. I'm going to be talking a lot about my faith in this video, so if it's not something that you are interested in, click off, and if it is something that you will leave nasty comments about, then please don't watch this video. I have no idea what I'm going to title this video. It's a bit of, a story time of how God's changed my course of direction in life and the new adventure that He's calling me to, that I'm very excited for. So let's just get into the video. I don't know what that is. So, like I mentioned in the video, I had struggled with whether I wanted to stay on the course throughout the whole of the year, and I was kind of going through the process of, okay, what would I do if I wasn't doing that course? I'm not going to show any of them, obviously, but as you can see, I did quite a lot of brainstorming of things I'm passionate about, things I would want to do, and to try and figure out what would be my alternative. And I was really in a position where I was really stuck. I was just I don't really know what that would be. There's so many different things, but I wasn't sure what I was 100% yeah, I want to do that. I kind of put that to the side and was I'm just going to throw myself in my training and figure out what was best for me. I'm not going to repeat everything in the video, but during this lockdown time, I've really had a lot of time to focus on my faith and spend time with God and figure out what's going wrong in my life, what do I feel like I'm on the wrong path of in my relationship with Him, what's helping my relationship with Him, what's hindering it. And I felt like God was taking such a back burner seat on my life over the last year, which is just not what it should be. God should be at the centre of everything, and we should be glorifying Him in everything that we do. And I just felt like that wasn't what I was doing, particularly within the coming year with all the opportunities I had with my church coming up. And I just felt like I was choosing between God and my course, and they didn't really line up in the way that they should do if it is what's right for me and if it's what God's called for me and it's part of His plan for me. And I went on a walk one day and I listened to some worship music, and I just felt it so much in my spirit that I was doing the wrong thing, that I was on the wrong course, that this wasn't what God wanted me to do. I felt like God was saying to me, I have such greater plans for you above and beyond what you're doing right now, and I want you to trust me. I want you to trust in my plans for you and my purpose for you, and just give me the reins, because as Christians we always talk about how God is in control and God has plans for our future and everything like that. And I'm always the type of person that's I have a plan, and I had a plan for my life laid out, and I felt like God was just saying, follow my plan and trust in my plan. And the reason why I wanted to make a video on this is because I feel like the way that everything has lined up so well is such a God-given miracle gift situation, and that's hard for people to understand who aren't Christians and who don't have a faith. But all of my friends who are Christians are just like, yeah, that's such a God-given thing, so that's why I'm making a video on it. So I went on that walk and I came home. My mum was like, are you okay? And I just had such a heavy spirit and I just started crying. My mum was like, oh, what's going on? And then I was like, I'm on the wrong thing, I'm doing the wrong thing, I don't want to do this anymore. And I just kind of had that epiphany of, okay, this is not what's right for me. So my mum was like, okay, you know, pray about it, write a pros and cons list. And I wrote a pros and cons list and I actually still have it. As you can see, all the pros outweighed all the cons of leaving massively. And I was in such a conflicted mindset. It took me a good few weeks to actually make my decision because I was so conflicted between the two things. And I say this all with so much more clarity in hindsight, but at the time I found it really, really difficult, and that's why it took me a few weeks to kind of figure everything out. During that time while I was kind of really unsure, I did a lot of Bible journaling and I prayed a lot and I reflected a lot with God. This was all towards the end of June. So I talked to my mum and my mum said, okay, so if you want to leave, you need to figure out what you're going to do instead. So I had my house for second year in Brighton, so from September I had my house confirmed, so I was contracted for that. I would either have to take a year out and work to pay my rent, or I would do something else. And part of me was a little bit concerned of starting something completely new without being certain, if that makes sense. So I was a bit concerned about that. However, my mum was like, why don't you just see what courses are around in Brighton and Sussex University, because I didn't find that any of the issues lied with living away from home or anything like that, and I loved uni and I loved my life in Brighton. One thing that has always been on my heart for so long is children and working with children. It was always my plan B. I was really, really interested in the concept of play therapy and drama therapy. That's why I did a degree course, because I was planning on, in years to come, when I wanted a different job, because ultimately I was going to end up having to go back to uni and top up or convert in some form. And I had a bit of a sudden epiphany with God, and he reminded me of Jeremiah 29 verse 11, which is obviously the one that everyone knows, which is, for I know the plans I have in store for you. One of the things that really stuck out to me in relation to this verse is the fact that it says plans, not plan. Like, God has multiple plans for us. And I just felt God saying that this isn't all he wants to do with me. So I went onto the Sussex University website to kind of explore any options of courses that I might be interested in doing, in like changing to. And one of the courses that I found was the Child and Youth Theory and Practice. First glance, I was like, okay, that seems really interesting. I started reading through all the information on the course, and when I say how I felt so emotional reading it, because it was as if I had made a course that was exactly what I wanted, exactly what I would want to study, the content I was interested in, the areas I was interested in. And I just remember just reading through this course information and just being like to God, like, oh my life. And what was really, really, really interesting for me, and the thing that kind of hit the nail on the head, when I found out one of the units in third year, which is a unit all about therapeutical approaches when working with children. And I was like, okay, let's see what it has. And when I say, it literally covers all of the areas that I was interested in. It looks at play therapy, art therapy, music therapy, drama therapy, like basically allows you to explore all of those options and research into them. Because it's a broad course, you can go into various different sectors. You can go into social work, counselling, therapy, education, so teaching. You can go into law if you wanted to push into children's law. Also, a really interesting part of it is that because you do learn a lot about international children's laws and everything that comes along with that, it really allows you to branch into working with charities and international children's work, which is something that is so cool to me and I thought would be so amazing to be able to do. I told my mum about the course and I told a couple of my friends and family members, and everyone was just like, just apply, just see what happens. You know, you're clearly not happy and you haven't really been happy all year, so just apply. So I was like, okay. Because it was the end of June, I had no clue whether they were still taking applications. So I dropped them an email and I said, I'm really interested in applying for this course. Are you guys still taking applications? I heard back from them within a couple days and they said, yeah, we're still taking applications, and they basically kind of told me how to go about applying. I had to fill out a whole new UCAS application, sort a reference and write a new personal statement, and the deadline was by the 1st of July. So I had to have my application sent in by the 31st of June at midnight. Otherwise, any later, then I would have to go through clearing. So I wouldn't actually know if I got a place till like end of August, when clearing kind of starts. By this point, I had like 5 days to do this UCAS application, and I was just like, I'm gonna do it. So I started my UCAS application, and for some like odd reason, I didn't feel stressed at all when I was kind of doing all of that process. I managed to fill in and like do my UCAS within a day, which was crazy. And I did my personal statement within 2 days, which was just amazing, that I managed to get it done in such a short amount of time. And I got in contact with my old boss from when I worked at a soft play centre where I worked with children, and I basically said, bit of a long shot, I'm applying for this course, would you be able to help me by doing a reference for me? And she did a reference for me within 2 days of me asking her. So here I was, I'd done my application, I'd done my referencing, I'd done my personal statement, everything was ready and it was sent off. It was the 30th of June when I sent it off. I was really nervous to send it off, but I was like, I'm gonna do it, just send it. A couple of days passed and then I had an email from the course basically asking me to fill in this criminal convictions form, which obviously, because there are placements with children on the course. So I filled in that form, sent it back within the next day and waited to hear back. So I actually wrote a diary entry on the 30th of June, which was when I had sent off my application, and I basically wrote about how I felt really at peace with the situation and I know that God is with me, and I felt him kind of prompting me to remember all of the little prompts and pointers that he's given me over my life towards this specific area. So I'm actually going to share with you guys some things that I wrote in my journal because I feel like it helps to really paint a picture. I did also write a pros and cons list for moving to a different uni and doing that course, and this was the pros and cons list for that. So all the pros are down this side right to the bottom. Overall, it was quite clear that it was a really good thing for me to do, and because my life was going in Brighton, I didn't want to just put a stop to it. As Christians, sometimes we can forget the way that God doesn't just give us a sudden epiphany. Sometimes he can give us little things along the way, and when I was really reflecting and reminiscing on all the little things he's given me, I was like, oh, it's so clear that this is what he wants me to do, like it's so clear. So when I was sorting out my housing for next year, I really struggled to sort housing with anyone on my course or at my university, and I really struggled to find people to live with in my second year. I was stressed. I felt like I'd exhausted all options. I asked one of my friends from church kind of if she was looking for anyone to live with next year, and I said that I was trying to sort a house out, and she said that she was going to be living with her flatmates, and I was like, okay, that's fine, don't worry, and kind of left it at that. And then I was just praying. God always kind of provides in the way that we need it. A few days after that, I got a message from one of my friends who I'd already spoken to, so this is my friend B, her basically saying that her and her flatmates had found a 4-bedroom house, and there were 3 of them and they needed an extra person. Would I like to live with them? And I was like, yes, I need somewhere to live. This could potentially be a really great thing for me to not be living with people from the same course as me and to just be in a different environment. And one of them was a friend from church, so I was really excited to live with someone who was a Christian as well. So I knew that they were all students at Sussex University, and then when kind of I decided to apply for this course, I was like, wow, I'm living with people from Sussex Uni next year. I'm applying to this course at Sussex Uni. Like, this is just amazing. Like, wow, thank you, Jesus. So, some other things. These are more like spiritual things that have happened with me and God. So, in February, I think it was, we went on the weekend away, which was a student weekend away with all the students. So, we did this prayer circle thing, which sounds really weird. Someone's in the middle, there's 4 people around them, and then they all pray for you and pray for God to speak to them, kind of what he wants you to hear, and kind of any visions or anything like that, which is really weird to explain to people who aren't Christians. So I'm just reading from my notes because I don't want to get it wrong. So one of the things I had spoken over me was that musical theatre is not my full potential, which was such a bold thing. And it was my friend Alice who actually said this to me, and she was like, I'm really scared to say this, but this is kind of what I feel like God is saying. And it was such like a oh my gosh moment for all of us. And she basically said that she felt that God was calling me to things that were beyond it, and one of the areas was within worship ministry. During this time, I actually really felt that God was revealing a lot to me. I took the step from that to speak to the head of worship for students, and basically just said, I'm really interested in joining the worship team, you know, can I be a part of it? And then I was actually due to do worship, the first students, that was cancelled because of coronavirus, so that was really annoying. That weekend I was also meant to be meeting up for coffee with the head of kids work to be involved in kids ministry, and I was also trying to get onto the kids serving team for the camp that they do. They do a summer camp called Focus, which is like a Christian camp for all the churches in their branch. I was also approached by our student leader and asked whether I would want to be a small group leader over the summer and for the year coming up. This was something that I completely jumped at the opportunity for. I had all these amazing opportunities, and the thing that made it really difficult for me was knowing that in September it would be really, really hard for me to continue those and to be able to do worship at students and serve at church and be heavily involved in a small group while I was on my course. And also because church had been such a saving grace for me during first year, with my mental health and just being surrounded by people who got me and everything like that, I'm not going to get emotional. I was just really worried that I would lose out on that connection that I had developed, and that would make me get worse and not help me. So that was quite difficult because I felt like I was in a position where I was choosing between like my spiritual growth and church and God and my course, and ultimately as a Christian God has to come first. And for me, I knew that was the right thing to do, was to put God first. When I was at youth camps when I was younger, I always, when I went every single year, I would always have a passion that God was calling me in my spirit to either working with children or in worship ministry. First year, I really felt that God was calling me to work with kids, and particularly in social work. I had such a strong feeling that God wanted me to help those children. However, I still struggled to make the decision because I knew that it would involve me letting go of a dream that I've had for so many years. But ultimately, the dream had died. It wasn't fulfilling for me anymore, and it wasn't something that I felt would be worthwhile and the best thing for me in life. There were things I wanted to do that it wouldn't allow me to do, and musical theatre is one of those things where it is it has to be your everything. It has to be all you eat, sleep and breathe. Whereas, that's what God is. That's, for me, being a Christian and my relationship with God is that God is the centre of it. God is my everything. I eat, sleep and breathe from my relationship with him. That sounds really weird. But he is the centre of my life, and everything in my life revolves around him. And when I put something else at the centre, when I put this training or this career or this passion at the centre instead of where God is, it messes up the solar system. It is not the way that God intended it for me, and it's not the way that God intends us to live our lives. So on the 2nd of July, I was actually on a Zoom call for my college. It was a Friday. I was on a Zoom call, and I got an email from UCAS being like, your UCAS track has been updated. So I logged onto my UCAS and I saw that I had been given an unconditional offer for this course. And I was like, that's it, that is it. And I remember I just started, like, I literally screamed. Luckily I was muted but my camera was on, and I was like, like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Like, I'm so happy. Like, it felt so good. Like, I felt so, like, released. But afterwards I found it difficult. Like, I had moments where I was like, felt so free and so relieved and like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I had moments where I just felt, my heart felt so heavy and was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm really gonna do it. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave. You know, I don't want to let that part of me go. I was just in a really conflicted pace with it. And this was the week before last week of term, and I wanted to decide after first year had finished, like after I had got my results and my feedback, because I wanted to kind of see whether that would have an influence on my decision. And it actually did. I got my grades for first year, and I got a couple B's, mostly C's, and I got one A, which is the equivalent of a first. And my first was in our academic unit. I remember just reading my results and laughing, because I was like, the academic unit, the one thing that is not really relevant to the course, it's only there to help us get a degree, is the thing that I did the best in. I had to let Sussex know by the 20th of July what I was going to be doing, like whether I would accept it, whether I would decline it, otherwise it would automatically decline, basically. So I waited till the end of the week, and then that weekend I made the decision. I accepted my place and I contacted my university, and I didn't mention the course because obviously they're two irrelevant things, they're completely different. Ultimately, I had decided to leave for various reasons, and the course is like a step instead of that, if that makes sense. It's felt so amazing and exciting. Like, I can honestly say that I am so excited for the next year. I'm so excited for all that it brings, and I'm so excited to see what God does for me over the next 3 years, because I am starting in first year again, because obviously my first year didn't really count in terms of that course. I don't feel anxious, I don't feel stressed. I'm so, like, I feel so good about this. It feels really good. And I just feel really good about it. I feel like it is something that will be so good for me, because I get to do so many things. I get to be involved in my church, I get to have a part-time job, have a uni life, and just, I already feel so much more like myself. So I hope that you guys found this video interesting and insightful. If you made it this far, because I know it's going to be a long video, then thank you for watching till the end, and I'm really excited to have you guys along the journey. So that being said, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell next to it to get notified every time I upload. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and follow me on all my social media. Instagram, Twitter and TikTok are down below. I also started an Instagram account for my artwork, like my quotes and stuff, so go follow that as well. I'll put that in the description box too. Leave a comment letting me know any videos that you want to see from me in the future. I've pretty much got the next month planned out, but I need some video ideas, so let me know what you guys want to see. Anyways, thank you guys for all your support. It means everything, and all the support on my last video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!